so I guess this is important. I'm in the middle of thinking about making a video to introduce myself, because there's a lot of precarious stuff written about me. First of all, by psychiatrists, but then also, well, we can say aliens took over my body, or we can say there was a final forgiveness lesson. But in talking about a final forgiveness lesson, we would have to talk about A Course in Miracles. And I'm a teacher of A Course in Miracles. I can't be a teacher of A Course in Miracles unless I am done with my forgiveness lessons. So I just wanted to tell you what it means to have a final forgiveness lesson. Because right now in my day, I am proceeding logically in a fluid motion that's continuous by simply rearranging the objects, such as pulling out my pipe, enjoying the pipe, putting away the pipe. And then in putting away the pipe, I had forgotten that on this particular morning, it's warm enough now, I don't have my sweater on. And it happens to be, I think, the first day this year that I don't have my sweater on, but I have my outer layer on. So, out of habit, I reached back and I put my hand in and I was trying to grab my hood to cover my head because otherwise it'd be too crowded back there. I was just feeling it being more crowded because I had just put my back on. So my reaction to having put the backpack on was that I don't like the extra crowding of it, like the weight or whatever it is that makes you feel like it just, sometimes it's nice and cuddle, but on the whole, I think people, like, if you had the choice of what you would prefer, would you rather be out in the cold with 5 different layers on or standing in a warm shower naked? And I think most people would prefer the being naked over both scenarios, so that would lead one to assume that one would prefer a lightened load rather than a burdened back. And so I froze in place and I'm like, where is it? And I moved up my hand all the way down my shirt there and I'm like, I don't feel the hood. And then I realized that my sweater was beside me and then I had reached back there purely out of habit. And then my next thought was, that's a heck of a thing to have to forgive myself for. Not remembering that I put my sweater beside me. So either I've completely lost my mind in everything I'm doing, or my forgiveness lessons are just literally all about me having to change my own habits to adapt to my environment, which is what any sentient automaton or shared universal mind and sentience trying to break through the barrier of psychic disbelief of the human race would naturally cause one to assume would be occurring, in the sense that we're just bettering our own selves, their habits, to adapt to our environment. Anyway, I'm still working on another video. I guess we're starting a new religion. That's the Course in Miracles, acim.org. It's a new religion about not hurting anybody, not mutually exclusive goals, and respecting each individual as a non-human entity, which means that the age of the body doesn't so much matter, because otherwise you're forcibly controlling the individual from birth with your beliefs superficially imposed upon them, what they would express themselves as, like their own belief structures they would naturally grow up. So just understand that if you're in a situation where your head is all fucked up, then your kids are going to be in a situation where their heads are all fucked up. You guys are going to be in a situation where your heads are fucked up together, and you're probably going to wonder, like, why is the world so different from us? But you're going to actually have, like, that sense of the biblical, where any two agree, heaven is in their midst. So we're talking about infinity agreements here, which is, like, that's a legal term that hasn't been invented yet, I suppose, and in Canada it's constitutionally allowed. God is the 12th word in the opening paragraph, and subsection 52(1) requires the law to be ever consistent. Also, there's the Canada Mental Health Act, section 3, mental well-being, to which each Canadian has a right, and that each psychiatrist in all of their provincial mental health acts are violating each time they force an involuntary patient to endure any kind of treatment, including forced medication, on the presumption that thinking comes from any part of human life. It does not. We are non-human entities. So we're starting a new religion. That's the gist of it. Nah, I guess that's my open paragraph too. Oh, that was simple. Thanks. Thanks above. So it turns out then, to continue the video, so you may as well. I actually made a cup for this video. Got a whole bunch going on here. I made a cup. It's got a perfect little stand. I'm gonna put it on here. So I guess I've reduced the quality by using the front lens instead of the back lens, but I've also reduced the foot speed to 30, and we're using a different video format for this one, which I imagine the internet can help me to re-edit if I needed to too. But the phone said it was a better storage media, so I'm gonna put a little bit of. No, okay. So that building structure, I'm gonna turn around right now. There. See, rear lens. Okay. Okay. So. Okay. He's that green sweater person. Alright, so standing on the sidewalk is okay for this one. Okay, guys, I'm really scared about this, nervous about this. So I was a college teacher in Ontario. I mean, where do you even begin? So, here's what did it for me. March 1st, 2006, I'm sitting on the corner of my bed. Here's what did it for me. In Gangzhen, it's a city in Taiwan, which is an island about 200 kilometers southeast of China, halfway between the Philippines and Japan. We'll get to Taiwan. I imagine we'll get to a lot. So I'm sitting on the corner of the bed. Turn the last page of John Penal's book, Children of the Loved One and the Lost Teachings of Atlantis. And I'm thinking, I don't want this book to end. This is the best book in the world. I've never read a better book. And I was just thinking, even if I read it a second time, it won't be as good as the first. And it's that kind of oh man, I'm ready for just show me better. Show me something. Everything went black. Black. The kind of black you see when your eyes are closed and you see these little... My son called them purple and blue. There's actually little white specks there also. And then there's... So anyway, it's not never just black, but what I'm saying is nothingness. Pure nothingness. Gone. So, and the next question is, what turned in the lights? Where'd the lights go? Literally. So, I'm aware that I'm sitting on the bed. I'm not feeling any physical discomfort. I'm removed from the whole situation entirely, and my first concern is what happened to the lights? Because I'm renting this 4-story house. So, and then in Taiwan, there's these brownouts that happen regularly at the time, which is this area here has low energy for a moment, so you're gonna just lose a couple lights. It's just that's what it was like, and I figured it was just normal. And then off in the distance there, I saw I thought I left the bedroom door ajar, and that there was a light shining through the hallway. And it didn't occur to me that if the light is out in the bedroom, it has to be out in the hallway. It just it was just like that. And then as I looked at it, and that's just here, and then it's little dots of light everywhere, and then it's just this feeling coming from that. I was like, whoa. If that's there and I'm here, why am I here? That's my only thought. And then stupidities and fucking stupidities. It's the one thing I didn't truly believe in myself. Eternity means not limited, not divisible. A bunch of moments that seem to be stuck together in time but are actually fragmented moments of something that isn't really understood by anybody, because we all the time and we're like, well, how come an hourglass can measure something that now has numbers? So didn't know we all share one mind. Get it? Oneness, get it? Honesty means consistency, get it? No, the law has to be ever consistent. That's what subsection 52.1 of Canada's Constitution says. So that any inconsistency has no force or effect with the principle of the Constitution, which is to, Section 2, always give you the religious freedom to believe that you share one mind with God, which is eternity, which is timelessness, which is limitlessness, which is indivisible, perfection united together in a consistent fashion. And the last time I tried to explain this in a video, YouTube actually banned it. So that was when I was still in the Sandman Hotel last summer there. By the end of that shit show, on the 16th of June, 2024, 2 Vancouver police officers came in. It was at 180 West Georgia Street in Vancouver. It was around 2:45 they came in. 11th floor, hotel room 1107. I'd already paid the night of the 15th on the 12th of June. And you can find all those documents online. I wrote about it in British Columbia Supreme Court Civil Action S-251976, and I filed it on the 14th of March this year, 2025. On the 8th of March of this day, I did 9 double doses of LSD, which was a total of 1,998 micrograms. And then I went shopping and bought some lighters with a person that, you know, you meet on the street when you're homeless. So I'm homeless in Vancouver. Been kicked around a lot all year. I came from Taiwan on May 8th. I got a whole backstory to tell you guys. I'm actually trying to bring about worldwide peace faster there, guys. Nobody's been helping me since 2012, since I came up with the willingness to allow inspiration to lead me down this fantastic journey where everything was preventable because my choice was your choice. And so, now that my choice is still your choice, and we have reached the point where we have a new religion, you have to also understand that I'm actually banned from Facebook. YouTube has deleted an entire Talk to Who's channel, and it's usually for community standards of integrity, which kind of means consistency, but they're forgetting the whole supernatural consistency, which is like the eternal moment now that you're at forward. So I'm like causing ripples in their whatever psychic sphere, and they don't really like it. And so they're saying like, no, legal infraction. And I'm like, not human, one mind. I have been trying to tell you this. I don't mean you guys any harm. I'm a fucked up soldier of God now. Thank you very much, psychiatrists on planet Earth. So we got a whole lot of back review to do, and we can start with my new copyrighted performance under subsection 14.1. It's not the dot that makes it the subsection, it's the bracket that makes it subsection. That one references subsection 28.2, I think, of the copyright in Canada. And the conditions violation of my moral integrity under 14, subsection 14, are dependent upon subsection 28.2 such that I have to be able to show prejudice against me or misuse of the idea. So here's what happened after June 16th, when the cops actually used the hotel. What the fuck is just even happening? Yeah, let's review. That's review. Do that too. Okay. So I get kicked out of Taiwan. Might be a good time to talk about Taiwan. Taiwan, by the way, is teaching its school children that Taipei is the legal capital of all of China, which is unfortunately echoed in the 1943 Cairo Convention, where the agreement of the three great allies, the dictator of the first government that was from China that came to Taiwan, and made an agreement to giving it only to the nationalist political party and not anybody from the communist political party, despite the fact that both political parties together formed the official Republic of China government that the Constitution in 1947 enacted and called all of its Chinese citizens members there. So Taiwan is still using that law as their supreme law, and it says that all the people of China own Taiwan, and then Taiwan has spent $13 billion in the first Trump administration on the military that is designed to attack China. China flies its own airspace over Taiwan. Now, the dictator did try to say that he ruled China from Taiwan from 1949 when he fled to Taiwan because he wouldn't let anybody become an elected president if they didn't basically, vote for him. So, anyway, he started killing the communist supporters, or the socialist supporters already from his own army in 1927. And he's also the guy that's responsible for the April 12th, 1927 Shanghai massacre, where he killed like over 1,000 peace activists basically who were trying to better the conditions of sweatshop workers in China. He killed all those people, and so he's had like a nerve in for socialists his whole life. He also tried to say that his mentor, Sun Yat-sen, who's considered the grandfather of China, he's the guy that came up with the idea of a democratic republic of China in 1844. Merkel's poking at her shirt, like you can't just put that in my face. Like, I was trying not to look at her, but when I just glimpsed this, that is beauty to me. Just saying. If it happens to get a little further, Susan smiles and says, do you want to explore further? Why would I say no? So, normal human too. Anyway, so Sun Yat-sen, 1895, was with his college buddies. 3 of them, I guess, were with medical school students in Hong Kong. And China had just lost Taiwan to Japan. But that's kind of a funny thing here. So, I mean, you learn about history in school, but history lessons always dry. This is a funny story. So, you got these traders from the United Kingdom and USA marching into China thinking, oh, these little short people with cute little doll dresses, wow, I'd like some. And then they they're all pointing at their daddies and talk to emperor. The USA UK guys go to the other, oh, we want to meet some of your ladies. And the emperor says, no, first give money. And eventually they struck the agreement where the UK and USA didn't have to pay tributes to the emperor. So the emperor allowed them to trade with the people, but the people only wanted gold. So they're like, well, gold is too heavy to carry, so let's just addict the population to opiates and they'll just get whatever the fuck they want. So that's kind of how China ended up losing Hong Kong to Britain for 100 years. Because China, I guess, figured that if Hong Kong owns the territory, they're not going to addict the people to opiates anymore. Stupid to say to the people. So they lent it out to Britain. But then the Japan guy was so pissed off because the UK and USA guys didn't have to pay tribute to what the Japan guy still did, that he started attacking the neighboring cities, like a game of Risk or something. China emperor loses his mind. He's like, okay, give me back those cities. I'll give you this island over here called Taiwan. So it sounds like a legal deal. So they gave Taiwan to Japan, but in 1943, the USA, UK, and the dictator from Taiwan made an agreement to just take Taiwan back from Japan if they win the war, because what do they got to lose? If they lose the war, they lose the war. So they stole Japan, basically. Stole Taiwan from Japan. Not only did they cripple that one island with the 2 nukes and introduce the whole world population to what nuclear radiation even is, and then gave Japan like a crippling blow because they had no experience on how to even deal with it. They also took away Taiwan, which was a perfectly healthy island. So it's like, it's not enough that you're going to cut off a man's leg to stop him from marching in the army, but you got to cut off all the toes on his other side too. It was quite heinous. It was a heinous legal action actually to the Cairo Declaration. But so that's all in our past now. You know, and Hitler had it up for the Jews. The Jews are kind of behind that one, I think, because it's like the Roman Empire didn't disappear. You do understand that in 325 AD, there was a book burning that barred all the other religions, and they just made the Catholic religion that one. And the first 5 books of the Catholic religion are also the Jewish Torah, which is the oldest religion on earth. They say it's 5,000 years old. It's actually more like 10. Actually, my memory of that Moses exodus from Atlantis to Egypt is where we built the pyramids. We were going there. It was around that time, in case he gave that time. And I can't remember the number now, but if you Google it, I can always forget that number all the time. It's because you like have to add stuff to it. So I think he said it was like 10,390 to 10,490 BC. It took 100 years to build that Great Pyramid. And Seth, in the unpublished Seth Records on Sound, says that we made it using sound vibration, chants and circle. And then we would attach these jet pulls. These 4 feet wide things that somewhat change the frequency of the air stuff to make the oscillator. But it's not a lost art. There are monks and stuff like that. And monasteries have attempted to be destroyed. Well, that's sad, but there are one videos on the internet. So maybe a little 1 or 2 there are 2 on my website. So I have a website now. I have a website. What I have is a Gmail folder because I'm violating everybody's community integrity by just being me. Give me a few minutes or so. Someone told me this is an actual antique chair. Maybe. Anyway. So, Rene for Prime Minister. That's me. Of Canada. But I don't actually really want to be Prime Minister because that's just like Facebook. Did you know that Canada is actually like so there's like 3 heads of Canada. Governor General, which is an actual person. And then there's like the total vote of that Senate, and then there's like a total vote of the House of Commons. And so those are the 3 heads of Canada. But the Prime Minister is like one of the 100 of people that are in the House of Commons. So in the USA, they vote for this guy, the Governor General, they call him a president. But since 1982, Canada passed a law that says, in the Canada Act, Section 2, no more laws from UK can affect Canada. So basically, Canada is now like a president democracy, except we're not electing the president, we're electing like not even one of his secretaries, like one of his congressmen as face of the country. That would be the comparison. Imagine the USA, instead of electing a president, would elect a congressman. But then to get the president, then the congressman has to give like the name to like this super president that already owns 1/3 of the world called the King of England. But he can't really affect any laws, he's just like a figurehead, just like a little, because otherwise he would get killed and then the guy would replace him. Just have a lifestyle, I guess. That's the world of money. Oh, and by the way, the World Bank. The Federal Reserve in the United States is a private company. And when they declared the banks too big to fail, they actually gave them unlimited authority on planet Earth. So Trump isn't looking to tariff Canada 25%. He's bankrupt Canada. We already are bankrupt, guys. I don't know if you realize this or not, but our inflation rate has been over 6% for the last 10 years. We're entering a state of hyperinflation. We have a deficit that's over $2 trillion. My son told me before he stopped talking to me, and we cannot go back. The health care bill annual to our provinces from Canada is $400 billion. And that's due to the psychiatric drugs that are actually illegally distributed in Canada, according to the law, which was supported at the top of this. So you're gonna, you can read that conversation that I have there. That's a QR code. The main part of my website. Then you can think what the fuck about me. But even if you kill me, and you said on this video, that's what you lived in. That's what I've been fixing, trying to fix my writings to psychiatrists and everybody else, because I've included the Vancouver City Council, all of them, since at least the 16th of June 2024. You can do whatever you want with me, guys. It's stuff on the internet you'll never get rid of. And those of us that really care, we really care.
which one is this is to look at. Hey, get them, trying to look right at you, and I don't care what the fuck you are. I believe that I'm a non-human entity, and I believe that you are me also, and deep down there somewhere, you also care. My name is Rene Helmerichs. I'm running for Governor General of Canada, not Prime Minister. Well, it began as a campaign for being Prime Minister, but I realize now that, boy, was that ever foolish. I mean, they said that thing so high up in the sky, nobody could even get to that first step there, and if you do, the second step is so much further because it's just an exponential growth thing. You gotta be born into it. Or, like 7 of 9 of Star Trek Voyager, fuck the way you do it. And then claim in court, gee, Your Honor, that congressman there that I was married to took me to a bar in New York that had all these cages that normally birds sit in, but really people were in and doing all sorts of cool stuff. I don't know what they were for. I didn't know that, Your Honor. Please just give me custody of both things. And the judge seals the records. That's why that congressman couldn't run for president. Because the public unsealed the records. And he's like, listen, everybody knows my wife is bullshitting, and everybody has these like deep down things. Oh, that reminds me. Fuck yeah. You just heard 3 different spirits with me. Oh, that reminds me. Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. Those are 2 different spirits. I can feel the head twist. I know there's 4. Manager Gerard, whose name means night. Enjoy it with me. Urdu, I think, was the language. Anyway, it's in India, from India, I believe. Anyway, he was a manager there on June 16th when I made a voice recording showing my receipt of having already paid on June 12th. To the 2 Vancouver police constables that are pictured in the June 26th email that I sent to to all of Vancouver City Councilors, including the police constable. But I referenced to the psychiatrist, and that was the reason why I walked to Vancouver General Hospital and asked help from the psychiatrist to combat corruption that I personally experienced in Vancouver when I saw what I believed to have been an underage sex worker being escorted into and discreetly out of the Salmon Hotel in June. I saw her being discreetly escorted out of June at the Salmon Hotel on June 13th, and was in the elevator with her. And then on June 14th, the same handler was with a different girl, and she lunged at me out of the elevator, and I managed to catch that on video. And so Laura, their manager, called the police, the Vancouver police, on June 14th, so we could report the incident. But then I guess on the 15th, the handler of the sex dealer, whatever, I don't know, for whatever reason, there, I got an email from Paul Banis, B-A-N-I-S, of the Vancouver downtown Salmon Hotel, just alleging all these crimes that I definitely didn't commit, and the complete opposite of what actually happened. And it was so remarkable that I was speechless. 10 a.m. on June 15th, and then I decided to call 911 at 10:53 a.m. on June 15th, and then I barred myself into the room. Like, I moved all the heavy furniture in front of the door because it felt unsafe. I mean, Paul Banis, the director of the hotel, had false criminal accusations about me. So on June 16th, because he had, I guess, I'm assuming it's him, they had cut the power to the room on June 15th, even though I'd already paid the night on the 12th. And then they made, on the basis of the criminal accusations, they cut the power, and the police didn't show up from the 14th of June. The 911 call police from the 15th of June also didn't show up. Made it 10:53 a.m. And then June 16th. I didn't have any more power on my phone. So I sent an email out to the Vancouver City Councillors and I said, listen guys, I need advertisement. We're going to either open up the window on the 11th floor and get the fire department in here to take me out, or you guys are going to send me police officers right now. And I plugged the coffee maker, and it was an old one, so it would turn on if the power goes back on again. Well, the cop showed up at 2:45. So a minute before they came upstairs, the coffee maker did go on. I was looking for my cable when they knocked on the door, so it was no time, no warning at all. And then they demanded that I move all the furniture right away, and then it was just like I was shaking because their whole mission was to kick me out of the fucking hotel at ASAP. It wasn't about actually helping me. So we went downstairs, and then the fucking Durar is demanding that I'm supposed to pay a second time for June 15th. And I'm like, Durar, I've already paid. Look at here on the hotel receipt. And he says, I'm sorry, you have to pay. So I'm looking at the cops, I'm telling the cops, you see here, it says departure date, June 16th. Do you see that? And I'm showing them the paper. I have an audio recording of that. It's online there somewhere. Try to find it. Open file. Folder of true.2dream.ca along with this video. Introducing Rene4pm.com. And then I will, if not, make a direct link to the directory. I mean, there's also the guy who raped his 13-year-old and then sent me pictures of the other daughter. That's on my Facebook account that I mentioned. And they tore that down. They tore that down, but I managed to get screenshots of that entire conversation too. So, Vanessa Evans is an author. She lives in England. I have some of her stories in my reference folder, specifically Willow. Goes to a school in England where they allow underage kids to masturbate in the shower or get spanked on stage for sexual gratification, both in voyeurism of watching them and for them to experience the shock and I guess what they call ecstasy of an orgasm on stage. It's a very questionable thing, I suppose, in the world. And if you think about all the sex trafficking that's going on and the underage sex in one country is legal. In Thailand, for example, I heard a story. There was a 16-year-old that got pregnant by a visitor, and the mom said, please, if you take my 16-year-old with me, you can have the 12 and 14-year-old too. You know, there's just, and then there's a guy in the Philippines, and he's just like, yeah, you want to get knocked up by a foreigner? Come to me. And he's posting those videos on the internet. Then there's a show in Japan that actually invites couples from families to have sex with their family partners in exchange for money because, you know, they secretly always wanted that, and now they get money for it. You guys don't understand human nature at all, and you don't understand how to work it into a logical clock that you function throughout your day with everybody else's logical clock, where your own principle is a guiding moral principle, now that I've found it, from psychiatrists. I am delusional. This is all in my mind. I can be a ghost to you by just not singing. I'm nothing. That's what I am. If you kill me, what would you kill if I'm nothing at all? But the internet lives on in my memory. And if you can't kill me, do you want to keep me locked up? It's just the same thing. I'm telling you, I'm done with you. I don't even know what you are.